Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a snail. So these guys are worked up with the googly eye rings. These guys right here. You actually find these all over the place on Amazon and other places, and in different colors as well. The snail is low sew. There's only one thing to sew together, and I know it's not ideal, but it actually works up pretty quickly in spite of that. I would say this is a 25-minute project, especially once you get the pattern down. But for today's material list, you are going to need a primary and secondary yarn color. I will be using some green in today's tutorial, and this is Sweet Snuggles Light or Chanel Home Slim. Either one of those will work. A size 6 Chanel yarn. Switch the yarn types as you want, but just be aware the eyes might be too big or too small depending on what you switch. I'm going to be using a 5mm hook for today's pattern. You'll need a pair of scissors, a sewing needle. I recommend using plastic with Chanel yarn because it tends to fall apart when you use metal. It still falls apart with a plastic needle, but the metal tends to tear it up a lot faster. And then to start my magic rings today, I'll be using some Chanel yarn. If you don't know how to do this technique, I have a little crochet foundation for you to check out if you would like to know how I do it. Then you also need some stuffing, but that's about it for the materials. So now we can get right into crocheting our snails. To begin, we're going to start with our shell color. For me, I will be using this dark green yarn. You're going to start with your magic ring or chain 2 method, whichever method you prefer to start with, and in that magic ring or your chain 2 method you're going to single crochet 6. Once you finish, go ahead and close up that magic ring or your chain 2 method, and for the next round we're going to increase in each stitch. Once that round is finished, we're going to go on to the next round, which we will increase and then single crochet. We'll repeat that 6 times. There's the end of that round. For the next round, we're going to increase single crochet 2. Repeat that 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. Once that round is finished, I'm going to go ahead and secure my magic ring real fast. So I like to just pull everything nice and tight and then tie the 2 ends together. Just some basic knots, and then I like to tie both of the little ends with the larger end just for a little extra security. And there's that end closed off. For the next round, we're going to single crochet in each stitch for a total of 24 stitches. Once that round is finished, we're going to go ahead and decrease and then single crochet 2. We'll repeat that 6 times. And once you're done with that round, you're starting to close up the shell at this point. For the next round, we're going to decrease and then single crochet, repeat that 6 times, and you should have a total of 12 stitches. Now we're going to go ahead and stuff the shell, and you can also stuff it a little bit during the next round as well. So it doesn't need to be perfect right now. And for the next round, you're going to decrease 6 times. I'm going to decrease 3 times, finish stuffing, and then decrease the final 3 times. Once you've finished all of your decrease, go ahead and slip stitch in the next stitch, chain 1 and fasten off. And we just need a long enough end to close up this hole, and then we're going to weave that tail in. You're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Just go ahead and thread your needle, collect all the front loops, and then pull tight. I like to take my needle and go back through a few of the first ones just to make that circle a little bit nicer. Now I'm going to secure this end by picking up one of the loops. Create an archway, slip your needle under it, and then this creates a little bit of a knot. Now we're just going to go ahead and weave this right into the shell. I'm going to go ahead and tuck the rest of it in with my scissors. And there we have our shell finished. Now we can move on to the body. For the body, we're going to need our eyes, and we start at the top, so they're going to be attached right off the bat, basically. When you get your googly eye ring, make sure that it is working, because I didn't realize one of these was broken when I used them. As you can see, it doesn't move. So just make sure it's working and you're not using a broken one before you're sewing everything together and realize it. So to begin, we're going to start in the same way as the shell. Go ahead and use your magic ring or your chain 2 method, but this time we'll be using our primary color, I'm going to be using this lighter green here. To begin, we were going to start with 6 single crochets into our magic ring or our chain 2 method. Go ahead and close up that magic ring. And then in that first stitch, we're going to place 3 single crochets. So put 3 single crochets into that first stitch, keep them all together. Now at this point, I'm actually going to secure the center tails because you won't really be able to after the eyes are in place. I recommend securing your magic rings whether you use this method or just the traditional method because it keeps things nice and tight for longer. So now our next step is to attach the googly eye rings to our plushie. So the way I do this is you take the eyes and you want to face away from your hook as if you're not looking from your crochet hook, and then go ahead and just slip it right over that first round. I like to bring it all the way up to basically the top of my hook. And now you can see we have a stitch here. This is our next stitch. We're going to skip that stitch and go right into the second stitch and place 3 more single crochets into that stitch. And that's just a little bit easier than trying to squeeze all 12 stitches in. So now in the next stitch, we're going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets in it as well. And then we're going to take our googly eye rings and we're going to slide them over towards our crochet hook. And then in that final stitch, so you're going to skip the stitch the googly eye rings are sitting on and go right into the next stitch and place 3 single crochets. For the next 11 rounds, we're going to be single crocheting in each stitch around. You should have 12 stitches at this point as well, but just go ahead and single crochet around for 11 rounds. And here is what our snail looks like with our 11 rounds finished. So now I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing. So I like to stuff this piece by stuffing the top part a little bit harder and then leaving about the bottom half just lightly stuffed. For the next round, we are going to decrease, single crochet 2, and repeat that 3 times. Should have a total of 9 single crochets, and now for the next round, we're going to single crochet 9 times, or all the way around. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish stuffing because we only have 1 round left. And in that last round, we're going to decrease, single crochet, and repeat that 3 times. Now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch, chain 1, fasten off. Now for this piece we will need a long end because this is how we'll be sewing the shell on. I think the geese are going to be quiet for about 30 seconds. And there they are back at it again. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk over them. Hopefully you guys aren't too bothered by them. Nothing bad is happening. They're just excited right now. For the next step, we are going to thread our needle. And then we are going to close up our bottom hole, same as we did with the shell, collect all the front loops. And then once finished, go ahead and close this up nice and tight. Now I'm going to take my end, and I'm about in the front, but it doesn't really matter where you are at this point. And I'm just going to come out about 2 rounds up the base with the eyes facing away from you, so on the back side of the snail. And I'm just going to put my end there. And now we're going to start sewing on the shell. So the shell is sewn on just like this. So this is what it kind of looks like when you're finished. What we're going to do is attach the single crochet round. This doesn't need to be perfect, but just about the center of the shell with the center of the body. So just pick up a stitch and go through and stitch this all the way down. Now, depending on how it looks when it's finished, I like to come back through and sew the other side so that it sits a little bit nicer, but you really only have to go through this once and it's secure. And here is the shell attached. And once you're satisfied with the way it looks, you can just go ahead and secure this end with a couple of knots. And then go ahead and weave it in. And here is our snail finished. Now the last thing you have to do is give it a smile. What I do is just take some size 4 chenille yarn and create a couple of loops just across the front of the face. But you guys can have fun with it, give it a smile or leave it blank. I think with the cartoony eyes, it definitely needs a mouth, but it's fully up to you whether to add one or not. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know down in the comments. I love hearing your guys' thoughts on everything, and I appreciate you watching to the end of this video. It supports this channel, and I'm just really grateful for you. I think that's about it. If you guys have any suggestions for what else I could make with these googly eyes, definitely let me know, because I would love to design some more patterns with these. I think that these are just a really fun addition to crochet. With all that said, I appreciate you guys, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!